flipped writing. Are we ready? Whew. That's like a course in its own self. So what I like to do is explore, flip, apply writing tasks with them. What I do is I'll give them a bunch of samples of an open-ended response to a question. And I'll ask students to analyze, okay, well, compare these 4 different examples, explore them. What do you notice about the components of it? What can you figure out is the structure of a well-written, open-ended response? And then once we've done that and explored the mentor text, then I'll give them a screencast that solidifies their thinking and understanding of what is a well-written, open-ended response. And then they apply that to now doing the actual writing of it. And then I also throw in a bit of mastery approach with this because we'll keep doing those short, open-ended writing responses throughout the entire year. And those, well-written paragraphs are so much quicker and easier for me to score than trying to do, an essay. I can get through those a heck of a lot faster than I can get through a 5-page essay. So you always, again, want to think about what is the workload on your end and how can you maximize what you're doing with your students so that you're minimizing how much work you're doing on the other side with assessment. And then I use a mastery rubric. Now, I do have one caveat for you with mastery rubrics, and I learned this lesson the hard way, is that you have to be mindful of your passing rates for your school district. Like if you're on the 100%, a 3-2-1 isn't really gonna work for you. Now, even a 4-3-2-1 can be problematic. So you just have to be really mindful of, like, as you're assessing student learning, like, do you want that middle thing to be a pass? Because a 2 out of 3 isn't a really great number on the mathematical scale. And I had some parents, even though I was trying to say to them, well, it's not the number that matters because I'm going to translate that into a rubric so that we can see what your mastery is and if you're proficient by looking at the, sorry to scare you with math words, but the scoring permutations and range. Like I could see based on a whole class, when I score their work, where do they fall in? What I did was I converted the rubric into a Google form so that I could score, like have paper copies of the students, and then I could score on my phone, enter in the scores on the phone or on the computer. And then I could look at the scores on the spreadsheet and determine, okay, well, where are we having trouble? And then I could see, by sorting the spreadsheet, okay, we're kind of a little stuck with elaboration and concluding summary statement. So then now I know by analyzing the data when I need to go back to teach. But this was really problematic for my students because that score of, out of 18 points, for some of my parents, they, didn't really, I had to scale it so that those numbers actually align to the 100-point scale. And I can talk all day long about that kind of stuff. But you can also think about how you can use the same scoring system for peer evaluation, that you're providing narrative feedback on their writing constantly. And then you want to give students a rubric to score their own writing tasks, and they spot the errors, and then of course, give them opportunity for revision before they submit it in for final assessment. And I'll do that type of thing too. We did peer evaluation of their poetry explications, and I converted the rubric to a Google form. And you can see I made a real simple rubric here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I learned from my mathematical mistakes before, and now it aligns better with the 100-point scale. And plus, by thinking about it in terms of quality, this was easier for the students to understand, okay, well, what was the quality of the annotated poem? What was the quality of the thesis? Okay, and by using these adjectives, it made it easier for them to understand the scoring of the rubric. And plus, again, had everything loaded onto a spreadsheet for analysis. And when you create that assignment in Google Classroom or Edmodo, you can use a mail merge add-on, and I'm not going to get too technical with that for you right now, but you can just simply have them copy paste from a shared spreadsheet into a document to analyze their own scores. There's always ways to make it work. And you can also think about formal and informal publishing. So you want to, again, writing is not meant to die a death in the folder. All writing really ultimately, like a piece of art, is meant to be seen, it's meant to be read. You know, and when you think about what is the ultimate end game for a piece of writing, it is to get published. So give your students opportunities to make it viewable and visible for an audience. And you can also think too about levels of visibility. Like an Edmodo group will keep it nice, internal walled garden. You know, it's not out on the greater internet. But then if you're using other sites like Google Sites or Weebly, now you're going to put it out to something that is the greater school. We did this with Edmodo with Scribe City, which was a group that I created with a bunch of other English teachers from around the country. And we had our students, this was like a working group where they would post their work, working drafts to Edmodo, and then they would offer feedback to it. I also replicated that with a teacher in North Jersey, and we teamed up, and her AP language and comp students, it was all one-directional feedback. They gave feedback to my 9th grade students, and the quality of the feedback was amazing. And plus, you get a great thing too, like this is Maddie. I changed her identity a little bit to kind of hide her. But Mad is one of my most introverted students ever. Like the girl never talked in class. Like she was wonderfully brilliant on paper and on digital. She's fantastic with her intelligence and her writing, but the girl just would never speak up. But Edmodo gave her a platform in which she could talk and in which she could even share her own work. I didn't ask her to publish her own poetry. She went back to that Scribe City group even after she was a sophomore and a junior and was posting work. And so she's got accepted to college. She just graduated this year, and she's going into a creative writing program. So it was so wonderful that I could give her this opportunity to realize her potential and her talents and to give her a place to showcase and feel valuable, and not necessarily in a room full of extroverts where it's hard to do that in a face-to-face environment. WriteAbout is a site that GenBoard, she's up in Michigan now, so close to you guys. She uses WriteAbout to connect her students with other student writers, so that's another site that you want to check out. And then, of course, BookTrack Classroom. You can have students publish their, give them their research paper. Tell them to upload their research essay into BookTrack and to add sound to it. And I had a really fascinating thing happen when I did this with students. We did an essay on leadership and on the Odyssey. And when my lower level students, they uploaded their essays, they created their BookTrack, and then as they were inserting the sounds and the background music and sound effects, they realized, oh man, I need to go back and put in a sentence here because I need to, I'm missing my transition. It like jumps, that doesn't make sense. So by using music as a way to go with their writing, it really helped them to understand the flow and transition so much better. And BookTrack Classroom is free, by the way. You can also, again, create a Weebly site where you can have folks publish, have a class website where we were publishing our work on the Odyssey to a site that I created. And again, free. Do it free. And you're also taking out the red tape of trying to publish, submit publications and get rejection letters back from other sites. Okay, and connecting with flipped ELA educators around the country. There's a whole slew of them, and there's one of them I know is sitting in the room with you, unless she got up and ran away.
She was.
There she is.
She's gone.
She's gone.
Ah, that stinker. But she's there with you at the conference. There's a whole slew of these folks here. They have all made me a better teacher because I have connected with them and we've bounced ideas off of each other, and they're just wonderfully fantastic and amazing folks to interact with. Cheryl and Andrew run the Flip Class Chat, which is on Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 7 p.m. your time. So if you can get on Twitter and check out the Flip Class Chat, I highly recommend that. And that's not just ELA folks, that's everybody that's flipping is on the Flip Class Chat. And then you also got some Flip Learning books if you want to go find some more stuff. There's that Flip Learning for English Instruction, which is John Bergman's book, which is rather small, and it's really a good, kind of just seeing like an overview of what are people doing. Flipping 2.0 is a few other subject areas in addition to English, but you get, again, ideas by reading it. And then Troy Cochran's book, Flipping Your English Class. He's got lessons in there, actual lesson plans, a couple are written by me that are in there, so if you're interested in that too. Also, Doug Lemov's Reading Reconsidered, Teach Like a Champion. Oh, there's so many stuff in there, so many publications to go find. So again, you got the session slides. This is where you can find me. I am so thankful you guys are all in the room with me, and so let me back out of the presentation and quit screen sharing, and I can see all your faces and we can ask questions. How's that sound?